Go over your personal brand stationery. So the first thing you want to do, we're going to have to open up and make a website for our personal brand. So if you go to Schoology and you go under projects, we have our online portfolio. And so with online portfolio, you'll be making this and it's going to be due at the end of the year. It's going to have everything that you've designed in all of Graphic Arts 1, and you're going to save it onto a website. And we're going to use Wix. So when I went under online portfolio, I'm going to go under Wix website, and it's going to open up. Now this is free to create, which is nice. What you need to do is sign in or get started. If you don't have an account, you're going to have to make an account. So I have an account, so I'm going to log in. And then you're going to create your first website. So right here it says create new site. Now when you're going to make this, the automated, it doesn't do a good job. I want you to go on the right side to choose a template. Make a portfolio website. So this is some basic templates. Templates have the information in there, but you just have to change it to yours. You can go through and find one that you like. And once you find one that you like, you're going to click on it and hit edit. So one that I've been doing is this artist corner. I'm going to hit edit. Now when you design it, it's going to go beep, beep, beep. It's going to process a few things. All I want you to do is change the name and publish it. You have to publish it twice so we get the URL. If you find you have, so where it says the name, you're going to change it to your name and hit publish. And it says, do you want to save and continue? Yes, we're going to save and continue, and then we're going to hit publish again where it says publish now. When it does that, it's going to give you a URL. You want to copy that. We're going to put that on our business card, letterhead, envelope, but we're also going to make a QR code. So the QR code place that we used was Visual Lead. So you're going to create a QR code in Visual Lead. It is a website, and then I can paste that URL there and then hit next. You can choose a background color for yours. I'm just going to use a basic one for this. And I'm going to create a QR code and then hit next. And if you have not signed in, you need to sign in. Now yours, once you do your sign in, there's going to have 3 categories. I've already purchased plenty of QR codes for me to use in my classroom. And then one server on the desktop. Go under students, under your period, under your name, and you've got your personal brand. In that folder, I want you to make a new folder. Oh, if it lets me. Come on. Stationery. So this is where I'm going to save everything that I'm going to use, and I'm also going to save the QR code that was just downloaded. So I'll open up my downloads folder, and I want to drag it in there. Now you want to do this for 2 reasons. One, if I update the computers, you are going to lose everything that's in your downloads and on your desktop if I update the computers, which should be happening shortly once I get the new memory. So you don't want to have anything on the desktop. You want to have everything saved in the folder. Second, when you go to print it off, it's going to link back to your design. So you want to make sure everything that you have for each one, like in your binder cover, you have your artwork in there. In your career report, you want your artwork and the files in there. So you want to keep going through until you have everything into the folders you need it. Okay, for this design, we are going to start up in Adobe Illustrator. You're going to be making a letterhead, an envelope, and notepads and business cards. It's important to get the information and the design, logo, and everything correct in Illustrator before you bring it into InDesign. So I opened up my identity guide. It tells me what typefaces I'm going to use. on my letterhead envelope notepad. It has the different styles or patterns I can use, and it has my colors and my logo. So first things first, I'm going to make a new document, create new, and it's going to be 8.5 by 11. So I want to make sure that we're in inches. It's 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to go to the advanced with more settings, and I want to give a bleed around the edges. So where it says bleed, I'm going to do a 1/4 inch all the way around. And then I'm going to create document. So the red line in Illustrator means it's going to bleed to that line. Now I'm going to go to my identity guide, click on my logo, and I'm going to copy it, Apple C, go to here. Now in Illustrator the rulers don't automatically show up, so I have to do Apple R. If I click on the ruler and I drag it down to 1/4 inch vertically and 1/4 inch horizontally, this is where, 1/4 inch. And then I grab the vertical and bring it all the way to this side, and 1/4 inch is there. You want to make sure the words and type are in the blue lines, and any design that you want to go to the edge can go to the red. So I'm going to paste my logo in, and I want to make sure it stays up here. Now for my logo, I think I want to extend the blue line over. So using the direct selection tool, I'm going to click off the logo, click on the blue line, and it's selected my travel agency. So I'm holding the shift key so it just doesn't select that. And then hold the shift key again so I can bring and extend the line all the way over there. Now the other thing I'd like to do, I want to add on the bottom. So I'm going to do a box on the bottom, and I'm going to go from bleed line to bleed line. And we're going to go about 10 inches up. And in here I don't want a black stroke, so I'm going to take the stroke and I'm going to make it none. But I'm going to put in the pattern from my identity guide. So I go back to identity guide, use my selection tool, which is the hollow arrow, click on the pattern, come back here, I'm going to paste it in, and then I'm going to highlight this, and we want to use this pattern. So I use the eyedropper tool to select it. Now I think that looks great for a travel agency, but the big thing is I don't want it to be this turquoise blue, I want it to be the blue up here. So to do that, get it all on one page. When it's a pattern, you have to go under Object, Expand. So I expanded the fill. Then I have to use the direct selection tool and click where the blue is. Now it selected one of the blue, but it didn't select all of them. So I'm going to go under Select, Same Fill Color, and then it selects all the blue. Using the eyedropper tool, then I can click on my blue, and now I've got the letterhead design layout that I like. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call it Letterhead or LH, and I want to save it as an EPS in my folder. So under Students, Period 5, make sure it's in your folder, under Personal Brand, and we're going to call it under Stationery. So that's a background for my letterhead. We're going to design all the patterns and logos we're going to put together in Illustrator, and then when we go back to do the type, we're going to go and do that in InDesign. Reason why is when we're going to do variable data printing, then we can use it in InDesign. We don't really have variable data printing in Illustrator that I know of right now. Okay, so I'm going to open up InDesign. We're going to create a new document. It is going to be a letterhead. So we click up here where it says print. We want to make sure it goes to inches. So it's going to be 8.5 by 11. I want the margins to be 1/4 and the bleed to be 1/4. And then hit create. So when it opens up, we're waiting for it to open. If I don't have my tools, everything is under Windows. So right now I do have my tools. I'm going to use a picture box, which is the box with the X in it. I'm going to go from red line to red line for the bleed. And I'm going to go File, place and find the letterhead EPS that I just made on the desktop in Graphic Arts 1, Students, Period 5, Personal Brand, and then it's in my stationery folder. And when I hit open, it will fit perfectly. I won't have to do anything. Scale, it'll be right to the perfect size. The only thing I have to do, and I don't know why it does it, I have to pull it down. So using the solid arrow, I just move it down so it's inside those purple lines. Okay, so I've got the design in there. The next thing I'm going to do is to use a text box, and I like to do my text box on the bottom for this. And this is where I'm going to put my address, my phone number, and the web URL. So you can make up an address. Vacation Boulevard. And if you'd like to, you can do option 8 and it puts a bullet in there. Now let's finish. Yeah, option 8, Mattoon, Illinois 61938. Then you need your phone number, which it's up to you how you want to do it. 217-238-75. And then I hit return, and this is where my URL is going to go. So I do Apple V, and I think I've got, nope, I don't have it still saved. So I have to go back to the internet. And I still have my Wix site up, so I just have to copy this, Apple C. And I don't know why I did that. I pasted something else on there that I didn't want to. So I'm going to return and hit the Apple V. Now if I look back in Illustrator on my identity guide, the typeface I basically use is Britannica Bold, and that's just for headers and subheaders. But for text, I'm going to use Avant-Garde Book, and for link, Avant-Garde Oblique. So you got to make sure that you follow your identity guide. So I'm going to highlight my type once it lets me. And if I go up here, I can go to Avant-Garde. And I want it to be book. Except for the link, which is below, I want that to be the oblique. So I go under Avant-Garde, and I want book oblique. Now for that, I can center it. Up here on the control panel, you have center, left, right. And the address I want bigger. And then I'm going to add a little bit more leading or space underneath for my link. So I'm going to just put a little bit there. Now I've got my address, phone number, and website on there. My business card is done, or my letterhead is done, so I'm going to go File, Save As, and save it in my folder as letterhead, and put your initials after it, and save. You want to print it off to make sure it looks good, show the instructor, before you print it on your letterhead paper. Under Setup, you go to Page Position. You want to make it sure it's centered. And we're going to go to Color Cube for this one, just so you can print it. There you go.